Most people will utilize full-service movers only about 3 to 6 times in their life. And they usually get movers for larger scale moves, things that require uprooting your entire house, the apartment, or your storage unit. And since most of these are more resource intensive, it's not as common for people to really understand what's going on. They might be selecting a broker or a van line, or they might not even know the differences between working with a van line or brokering out a move. So what's the big deal? Selecting a broker or a van line, and how can it impact you? Well, it can impact how much money you pay, how easily you resolve issues or changes, and also the reliability of the crew that does your move. So, are you planning to hire a van line for your move, or are you planning to broker it out? Well, what's the difference between those two choices? Well, to start, van lines are more traditional movers. Most van lines in existence today work with a vast network of independent companies called agents. They work together to get people anywhere they need to go. So when you choose to move with a van line, you'll be routed to the closest agent, either at your origin or your destination. And from there, that's the moving company, that's the agent that will service your move. Now, on the other hand, brokers will just bid out your move to any moving company. And that's not like van lines. Unlike van lines, moving brokers function as middlemen between you and movers. So when you hire a move broker, they will select a moving company of their choice to perform your move on the date you ask for. Move brokers will never do any of the moving. They don't have trucks, they don't have crew. They contract move companies on your behalf. So who's doing the move? And when it comes to differences between van lines and brokers, this is one of the big ones. Who's doing the moving? When working with a van line, you'll have a chance to meet with someone who represents the agent that will be doing your move before you actually move. So during your walkthrough, you'll either meet in person or virtually with an estimator. That person will draw up an estimate of charges based on what you need to be transported. And in this walkthrough and estimate process, you'll know the size of your crew, when they'll be arriving, and what truck or any additional equipment that they'll be using. And you'll be able to establish a direct line of contact to your estimator and also a move coordinator. And they can make any changes or confirm any information that you may need along the way. Now, by contrast, if you're working with a move broker, then you'll often receive an estimate without meeting anyone from the moving company, because your contact will be at the broker, not the movers themselves. So on moving day, you'll meet the moving company that your broker contracted for the move, but you won't have a chance to know who's actually doing that until move day. So if you'd like to know who your crew is before the move and understand how they train and what the standards are for that crew, well, then your best bet is to work with a moving company and a van line directly. You'll have a direct connection with your moving company and will be fully aware of who's doing the move before it actually happens. The next difference comes down to what you'll pay versus what the estimate says you'll pay. Now, moving costs are a large concern for many customers who are unfamiliar with what it takes to accomplish large-scale moves. Now, base pricing is typically determined by how long it takes to load, unload household goods, how far the shipment is going to travel, how big it is, those kinds of things. And if working with a van line, an estimator will draw up those written estimates, and it will be dependent on that initial walkthrough. Now, it's meant to be as accurate as possible so that you know exactly what you're expected to pay on move day. But with brokers, it can be a bit different. Move brokers will typically estimate a price that's lower than most moving companies can charge. Then they'll contract a mover who will transport your household goods for around this price. But because the broker's estimate isn't necessarily contingent on exact specifics of your move, their estimate is likely to be slightly inaccurate to what it will actually cost the contracted movers to transport your things. So if you choose to work with a move broker, you can expect that it's possible you'll pay a higher sum on moving day when the moving company shows up, especially if your estimate was inaccurate. So if you're concerned about budgeting tightly for an upcoming move, then a van line is going to be more accurate up front. Estimates made directly through a reputable moving company are always going to be more accurate to what you're going to pay on moving day. Now, the final substantial difference between van lines and brokers is going to be in the post-move process. So valuation protection is a key component of long-distance moves because it covers what happens in the event that something is damaged or lost in transit. Accidents are bound to happen. The process for submitting a claim to reimburse you for missing or damaged items works differently for van lines than it does with brokers. Now, that's because van lines work together with their independently contracted agents. And you can submit a claim directly with your point of contact, and in your moving paperwork, you'll receive information on how to get a hold of your estimator, move coordinator, as well as any instructions for submitting a claim. Now, in contrast, if you use a broker, you will be responsible for contacting the moving company about their claim and reimbursement process after the move occurs. Brokers do not assume responsibility for the shipment that they have contracted out. That's going to be on the moving company. So filing a claim or complaint is going to be a complicated affair. The claims process really affects customers who are transporting more higher value items. Now, whether that means they have high monetary value or they're just deeply treasured by you, damage sustained to these items can be devastating if they're not correctly reimbursed. So if you're concerned about a lack of accountability for damage that may happen during your shipment's journey, then your best bet would be to work with a van line with reliable valuation coverage and a clear and upfront claims process. Okay, long distance moves are not going to happen too often in your life. At least that's the hope. So to make sure that your encounter with full service movers goes smoothly, it all comes down to who you choose to work with. For a more reliable, honest experience, you typically have better luck working with a van line or another full service moving company. However, if you know of a reliable move broker, someone who has previous experience with others that you know, then you can broker out your move. You might save some time shopping around and scheduling walkthroughs. There is a possibility too that you can save some money with a broker. So before deciding to work with either one, a broker or a moving company directly, always be sure to do your research. Look up moving reviews, ask around to your realtor, neighbors, family, or friends to gauge the broker or the van line's reputation. Now, in addition, make sure you've chosen long-distance movers that are registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and that they have valid Department of Transportation numbers. This will ensure that they are monitored by the regulatory agencies and that they maintain industry standards for moves. Using those factors and others that you find online, you'll be able to choose the best fit for you and your move.